Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Copiers Plus has been getting, the Kyocera has been getting work, Joe. I've had to scan in insurance cards. I've had to scan in documents. I got all sorts of stuff going on because, yes, it is tax season, SZN. And here's the other thing about Copiers Plus, cloud management, man. Keep the paperwork down. That's where they come in clutch. So check them out online at copiers-plus.com. It is a new era in the triangle when it comes to college basketball, Joe. The Will Wade experience is officially underway at NC State. I know people get caught up in the concept of winning the press conference, but I do think that if we go by those old tropes, Will Wade did a very, very good job at his introductory press conference. Our friends at the News and Observer put this supercut together, which pretty much in a 2-minute condensed form gave you the best of Will Wade at his introductory press conference.
I'd be remiss if I didn't thank everybody at McNeese. McNeese State was incredible to me. And I just want to thank Dr. Roos had incredible leadership there, just like we have here. And Heath Schroyer, the athletic director there. They took a chance on me. Not many people would take a chance on me 2 years ago. And they took a chance on me, and I was at McNeese because of some of the issues we had at LSU. And, you're going to get that same passion and competitive fire that I had at LSU without all the arrogance that got me in trouble. And so, I've grown and matured since then, and you're going to get the best version of me here at NC State. Just couldn't be more excited. Our time is right now. Our time is right now. This is the first time in a while, I think, the fans, the administration, and the program, we're all on one accord. And everybody's on the same accord. Everybody's singing from the same sheet of music. And when that happens at NC State, it's going to be a reckoning for the ACC. And it's going to be a reckoning for college basketball. And it's coming. And it's coming soon. And I want to be very clear. This is not a rebuild. We're going to be in the top part of the ACC next year, and we're going to the NCAA tournament. This is not something that's going to take a whole lot of time. All right? This is. Make sure you got that on camera. This is going to be done. This is going to be done the right way, and this is going to be done quickly. We are here to win. I challenge everybody who's watching, all of our fans. Our first home game is going to be Monday, November 3rd. I want to sell out the Lenovo Center. 19,500 people. I want 19,500 people in there. We need to send a message. We need to let the state, the ACC, and the nation know the Pack is back, and we are not to be messed with.
So that was essentially the best of Will Wade at his introductory press conference as the next NC State head basketball coach. Joe, you were there. What were your impressions of all of that?
Yeah, I had to go through the list. Les Robinson, Herb Sendek, Sidney Lowe, Mark Godfrey, Kevin Keats, basketball. Michael Caine, Chuck Amato, Tom O'Brien, Dave Doran, football. 9 coaches. Never saw a press conference like that from any of them.
Yeah.
The Got Man would have come the closest, right? The Got Man had his moments, but most of those were in the locker room. Most of those were there's a plane waiting for you. Most of those were, bite the tire.
Also, that press conference was mostly known for Debbie Yao.
Sabotage.
Right.
So I have not seen a coach introduced and at the same time throwing equal amounts of red meat and Viagra to an audience ever. You talk about singing from the same sheet. I mean, he was playing the hits and playing them early.
Yeah, man.
Might need to go back at the beginning of that clip. We have his tell, which is great to have before he's coached his first game.
Okay, you want to watch this clip again real quick?
It's at the beginning.
All right, here we go.
They took a chance on me. Not many people would take a chance on me 2 years ago. And they took a chance on me, and I was at McNeese.
Okay. He's about to say something about his arrogance, and he's going to give you the what was the Mike Tyson fighter who did the head nod?
Yeah, sometimes the eyes would blink.
He's about to do this thing where he shifts his eyes and he does a head nod.
Yeah.
That's his tell. Because he was asked about the NC State job, remember, before I broke the news at his press conference.
He gave that
grin.
gave
that same grin and head nod. So now we know the man's tell, which is excellent knowledge to have here on March 26th.
Who's a more complex fighter in the Mike Tyson tell? Would it be Tom O'Brien in the sniff or the little shimmy there for Will Wade?
It's about to come, though. You got to play. You got to pay it off for our YouTube people.
Okay, hold on a second.
You're going to get that same passion and competitive fire that I had at LSU without all the arrogance that got me in trouble. And so, I
I like it.
Then I just need Mario going, and then we're good on the punch out references here. Some people will get those sound effects, some will not. For the Utes out there, go download the Nintendo Switch Online service and fire up some old punch out.
I can't tell you the number of State fans who texted me yesterday and were like, "Oh my God, is this real? Is this guy can this even possibly be real with the things that he's saying?"
I was thinking about this, and are you familiar with the 5 love languages? Have you heard of that?
I am familiar that there are love languages. I did not know there was 5. Though.
Yeah, there are 5. And look, it's a book. You can buy into this hokiness or you cannot. You're right. Obviously it's not gospel truth, but yeah, it can help you understand your partner, right? Like with you, Joe, I know since we have this partnership, you're looking at the 5 love languages: words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, receiving gifts, and physical touch. With you, I know that I have to provide words of affirmation.
Yes, it's true.
You were right. That, use kind, encouraging, positive words, express gratitude and appreciation. You really love to hear. You were right.
You're right.
You also like quality time.
Yes.
Give undivided attention.
Charlotte.
You love a freaking drive, and I hate them. But I know, like when we went to Wrightsville,
yeah,
I was going to drive separately. But you were like, okay,
No.
so what time do you want to leave? I was like, okay. I know you like quality time. You also like receiving gifts. Okay. So I would say that you and me, physical touch, I don't know about that one.
Okay.
But we have not spooned yet on the road. We have not found ourselves in that situation yet. But I know, I look at these love languages. I know which ones yours are. Which ones are mine, Joe? Do you know? Like, this is a test of our relationship. Do you know what
definitely not gifts? I know that. I feel like they should add one.
This is true.
They should add one. Not you were right, but like just doubt you just a little bit, and then that's when you're like, oh,
that's when the sleeper activation happens.
Allow me to retort. So we got to add our own.
Honestly, that is a bizarro words of affirmation for me. It's like, oh,
you got to flip it.
You did.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't think oh, okay, fine. It's going to bother you if I'm successful at this? Oh, well, if you put it that way.
You mean if I'm right about something?
Then I'm going to go all in. I want to add a 6th for State fans. What's the 6th for State fans?
It's got to be the Bret Michaels poison. Talk dirty to me.
That's what it is, right? It's not physical touch, although I'm sure some people were watching that press conference and thinking about it. But yeah, it's got to be a little talk dirty to me. It's got to be a little like, hey, there's going to be a reckoning.
Not only is there a reckoning, he hit the high notes there with, he said, you're going to be able to go to work the next day and talk to your neighbors and tell them, we whipped you last night and you've got more of them coming.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, man. That is...
That really is. I mean, I can just call out Steve and Chung by name. Like,
no,
the number of times they've told me, I just want to have something to retort with. I just want to have something to say back to my Carolina and Duke friends.
That is, again, we get way too caught up in did they win the press conference or not? And now Will Wade has to follow through on it. Also, by the way, NC State fans need to follow through on this as well.
Yeah.
The most interesting part that I found there at the press conference was that he challenged State fans to show up on the season opener.
I was actually going to start at the end.
Yeah.
I got a disturbing number from somebody yesterday who would know.
Okay. What's this disturbing number in relation to?
The actual average attendance this season at NC State. You want to know it? The actual number, not tickets sold.
Right. The actual number, I would say 5,500.
A little low, 61.
Okay. It was close.
61.
That's bad.
And you and I have said before, like, hey, NC State.
That's like Dark Days Carolina Hurricanes numbers. Okay.
NC State may not be overly concerned because they've sold those season tickets.
Yeah.
But they're the people who run the building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They would like for there to be warm bodies in there to spend money.
Got to sell beer
and make money.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Those courtside seats ain't selling themselves, man.
Right.
You know?
So That's
it.
That's not.
Dude, that's
Now,
bad.
that obviously,
That's bad.
it's not the Carolina game. Now, the schedule was whatever it was this year, but I love that he did that. I actually love that he challenged them on that opener, because you remember my reaction to this year's opener.
But this is not a new phenomenon, by the way. It's not. I mean, I go back to Sidney Lowe. You know, here you have, I get that the coaching search didn't go the way that you wanted to, but this man is part of an iconic moment for your university and all of sports. Okay. And you couldn't fill out the building for that. So I did like that Will Wade challenged it, because that's the thing. I'd seen, I have a breakout video from our guy JC over at Wolfpack Central. And I was watching the breakout video, and somebody had asked him essentially something to the effect of like Pack of Wolves collective. Like they actually have gained more members to this collective than they did after the Final Four.
Okay.
I think that
tracks.
That tracks, right? So if you're going to motivate, and I think this is all kind of gets back to what I said yesterday, and I'll reiterate it today, because watching that press conference, the reaction to the press conference, I was talking to somebody that you and I both know that was downright emotional about this hiring.
Yeah.
And I don't bring it up in a dismissive way. I think
I mentioned this in what I wrote for OG fans. The people who remember Valvano and the way that he coached, maybe not the personality, but the way that he coached, they're all in on this.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've literally waited 30 years for this.
Yeah.
Valvano was fired in 90. And people feel like that's when NC State really, there was some self-sabotage. There was the board of governors and there was a different standard that NC State was held to that other schools weren't. And there are people now who think, those who remember it, who think, okay, this is our new Valvano.
Yeah. So we're going to talk to Brendan Marks of The Athletic here in a little bit, because I thought yesterday was a very interesting day in triangle hoops, ACC hoops in general, but specifically for us in triangle hoops. Because at Carolina, we're starting to see the hard reset for Hubert Davis and that program. And again, we'll get into that a little bit more with Brendan Marks, but it's important to tie these things together, because we're also seeing the hard reset at NC State with Will Wade. And I think that hard reset began the year before with the Final Four run. As I've said before, the one thing that Kevin Keatts did on top of killing NC State shit forever is recalibrating NC State fans as to what their identity has been and always will be. We're a basketball school, man. We're a basketball school. And if you don't think that's true, and if Dave Doran's getting kind of bristly about that, hey, man, look at the reaction to what's happening with Will Wade and the hiring there.
Low key, mark the date, March 26th.
Yeah.
Some people have been whispering that this will be Dave Doran's last year, and not because he's going to get fired.
He's just going to leave. Okay, that's fine, because he's going to find out, hey, man, love you, mean it. Yeah. Love the wins against Carolina, but hey, man, our heart, to get back to the love languages, our heart is with hoops. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you.
No, I know.
That's what the last 365 days has been about at NC State. Now, I understand that some Carolina fans who are wrapped up in what's going on over there, and the salty Duke fans that are very much like, why don't you love us all the time? You know, that kind of a thing, right?
Okay.
What I'm getting at,
Duke's on a march to a title. Are they salty?
Yeah, dude, they're salty because like the Duke stuff is a different conversation all day. That's like almost a mailbag episode to kind of explain the weirdness that happens when we talk about Duke. There have been so many people that just interact with us through social media stuff like Reels and TikToks. And there's like, you all are Duke haters, as if we have not been, as if we haven't been like just very praise, you know, and John Shire deserves the praise, but we've absolutely been praising John Shire and what he's been able to do over at Duke. But this is important to my point about Will Wade. Other than Duke, who seems to understand it right now in the ACC?
Well, Louisville this year with Kelsey.
Okay, that's one.
Yeah.
Does Virginia get it with Ryan Odom and that hiring? I don't know. Does Wake Forest get it? I think they do, but for some reason they just can't get over the hump. Carolina, as we mentioned, there's this hard reset. What I'm getting at here, not only are NC State fans or have NC State fans been waiting for this for 40 years, but there's another thing they've been waiting for. It's been a long process to get here, but they've been waiting for the ACC to open up.
I was going to say, I literally had a conversation who was involved in it. I had a conversation with someone who was involved in the search the last time.
Okay.
And they said, it's amazing to think in 2017 who we couldn't get because the ACC was quote unquote too tough with Roy and Kay.
Right.
And now, and coaches were openly saying, we'd rather be in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's the opposite. It's like, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
SEC is stacked and there ain't nothing other than Duke standing in our way. in the ACC, which
Right.
is wild to think about now.
But it goes beyond just Duke and Carolina. Let's think about what the coaching
Oh.
ranks looked like in 2017.
Yeah.
Look, man, it was Hall
That's
of
a good
Famer,
point.
Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. I know the focus is on the old Mark Gottfried tough neighborhood, but what about the neighborhood looks tough now? I mean, I'm being real.
Right.
I get that Carolina has all the resources in the world, but that doesn't mean just because you have the resources, you're going to get it right. And they're now in the process of working that through. The same thing applies to NC State. They can corral all the resources they want, but that strips away. I'm getting away from my overall point here. And I think that's why State fans are hype about this and why Will Wade probably took this job in the first place. Not only the financial resources, but to your point with the SEC, there's a lot of tough coaches in the SEC, and you have an opportunity in the ACC. And this is an opportunity that I feel like I've been talking about, having worked here in this business for damn near 25, 30 years. State fans have been waiting for this opportunity for the Hall of Famers to get the hell out of the paint, and here's where we can come in and take it back. Well, it's there for you, and they feel like they have the right coach to do it, along with all the love languages that were said.
So Will Wade did not say Duke or North Carolina. He even stopped himself at one point when he was about to call NC State North Carolina State. He said,
Yeah.
I was told not to call us that.
Yeah.
He did in the Q&A section say, though, you don't have to have the biggest house in the neighborhood. We don't have to have the most. To your point about Carolina, when you have the most, sometimes you buy some lemons.
Yep.
Now, you say Kevin Keats killed NC State shit.
He did.
How's this for a challenge?
Hmm.
Can Will Wade kill the law of the wolf? Because when you expect the most, you get the least. And man, has he set the bar high on those expectations after yesterday's press conference.
There was one other thing from Will Wade that I found interesting, and I have to imagine you were in the breakout session, right?
I was standing there, yes.
Did you have a moment when, and this is from
Speaking of lotion and tissues.
yeah, this is our guy JC. He had pulled the breakout session, and this ties together a few things we've consistently talked about the last year or so when it comes to college basketball. He answers the question of, and you kind of say it dismissively, oh, you want consistency? Well, yeah, because consistency gets you opportunities, Joe, which gets to, is Will Wade listening to the podcast?
Here's the thing. If we can build a consistent winner, it'll break your way sometimes. You look at the Virginia team that won the national title. That wasn't his best team. He'd probably tell you that. But he kept being at the top. He kept winning the ACC. But really, he was in the top 2 or 3 of the ACC every year. Kept getting protected seeds in the NCAA tournament. And eventually, the bracket breaks your way. You know, I think that's what we want to do here at NC State. We want to consistently, be in the top 4 in the ACC starting next year. And then we want to consistently get good seeds in the NCAA tournament. If we do that, for 5 straight years, one of those years is going to break our way. 2 or 3 of those years, we'll probably go to, maybe the Sweet 16, Elite 8. And one of those years, we'll probably get upset in the first round. That's just the way the tournament, that's just the reality of it. That's just the way that deal works. And so, but it's like winning the lottery. The more ping pong balls you put in there, the better chance you got to win the thing, right? And so, we're trying to continually put deposits in there where we're competing at that level, and eventually it'll happen. So my charge is to build a consistent program, a consistent winner that is not reliant on crazy runs and that sort of thing. We need to be consistently and reliably in the top portion of it.
All right, Joe.
Oh,
please,
boy.
please.
He packed a lot in there, didn't he?
He did.
Not
He did.
reliant on crazy runs.
Please tell me you were there for that. Please set the scene for me.
I didn't hear it in real time. There was a scrum. They had a banner set up, as you saw.
Yeah.
I was a step back from that crowd, but immediately both Chip Patterson and Aaron Beard were like, he just said bracket luck is real.
Yes.
And I was like, see, I like Will.
See?
He's a smart guy.
There it is.
But listen, what he was saying was what you're saying. You want to be consistent. You want to have a look at it. What do I always say bracket luck is real, but you always say Virginia took advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to take advantage of it. And to his point, Virginia put themselves in position to take advantage of it. So, maybe we're both right.
Housekeeping.
You still got your word of affirmation there. Housekeeping brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
Folks, we got a lot to get into in housekeeping. All right, so we have decided we actually do. Drunk OG is back. Year the Hangover is officially over because Will Wade is your coach, but there are people who still want to buy the Year the Hangover because, as you pointed out, football season is still here on the way. So if you want to buy it, if you want to buy that shirt, which comes in a Comfort Colors pocket tee with the OG flag on the front and the Drunk Wolf on the back, and then a charcoal shirt and a Heather Red shirt from Next Level, those are on the front. The Next Level shirt to $25. The Comfort Colors tee was originally $83, but we've reduced it to $35.
83 to 35.
And it's $10 cheaper than that Deftones Comfort Color shirt I almost bought, but they didn't have it in my size, so it is what it is. So the link is in the podcast description. YouTube podcast description. You'll see it. Year of the Hangover with the link to our friends over at Base 6. If you already ordered them, by the way, shout out to, I think we had like close to 130.
Nice.
Of those people.
Yeah.
Those shirts should be arriving and printed, and you'll get them sooner.
You get them ahead of time.
You'll get them ahead of time.
See, you do get a reward.
You get a reward for ordering
listening.
it. So we like that. You and I were having a meeting. Let's continue to have a meeting. Look, you and I seem to have a debate as to whether or not you want to party on a Thursday or a Friday. So we have on the plate at Shady's, and shout out to our friends at Whitaker and Hamer. Check them out, wh.lawyer. I still need to contact Josh about my speeding ticket from the Spencer Police. Unless I don't know if we have a listener out in that area who's an attorney and knows a guy, by all means, contact me. The OG goes digital at gmail.com. But Whitaker and Hamer, check them out, wh.lawyer. But our friends at Whitaker and Hamer also have a bar, Shady's, in downtown Garner.
Yes.
So we have our birthday
Great
bash.
spot.
We have our birthday bash. This year's birthday bash could be a little bit more low key, no trivia. We're going to have some raffle stuff. I might break out the vault again for a special selection of hats. We'll see. So we can either do it on May 1st, which is a Thursday, or Friday, May 9th. I would rather party on a Friday. I feel like it's an opportunity for people to come out, have a drink, and then go about their merry way on a Friday night.
I say this. If you feel strongly about it being a Friday, let's do it the Friday.
All right, we're going to do it on Friday, May 9th. I'll start putting out the graphics.
Let's get a little bit of a run up too, as you like to
That's
tell
true.
me,
That's true.
right?
That's
a little
true.
bit more of a run up.
Speaking of which, we are running out of time. Get your tickets now to see the Sklar brothers at the Rialto. Go to rialto.com. We're going to be there with Sarah Sivian. It's going to be a fun time. And the Sklar brothers are fantastic. And it's all part of the, with our guy Richard at the Cancer Foundation. So it's raising money, Balls versus Cancer. So buy your tickets today at the Rialto. I mean, it's a great name, Balls versus Cancer.
I like that.
Come on now.
Oh.
What did you find? Well, there you go. There's the sign. See? Balls versus Cancer. American Cancer Society. Fight against testicular cancer. So let's go. Go to rialto.com. One other housekeeping item. So shout out to everybody who has helped raise money for my son's indoor percussion. The Enlow Indoor Percussion. They've got an event coming up in Dayton, the real destination.
The real Dayton.
But now, since we've raised some money, we're very close, Joe, to putting the OG logo on the truck.
Really?
So we need, if you're watching on YouTube right now, I put the brand spanking new painted Enlow High School band's truck, the trailer. It's a really wonderful green. The green pops. It looks really good, right? So apparently, if we raise $1,000 more, we can
put a
put
sticker, or is it like how big is this?
No, it's like an actual decal.
Okay.
Where do you want to put it? You want to put it on the side of the truck, on the back of the truck? I would put it on the back of the truck because that's how people will see it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a really nice logo.
Oh, yeah.
That they have.
Oh, yeah. The Enlow Marching Eagles, man.
That's impressive.
Good stuff.
I like that.
But it would look even better with an OG Media logo on it.
It would. I agree.
So apparently we also get our stuff on a shirt too, on the official band shirt. So if we can raise,
or like Radican or whatever that is, sponsors the
Right.
Warriors.
So if we can raise $1,000 more, we can put the OG logo on it. So here's what I'd like people to do if you're willing to give money for my junior year kids indoor percussion for this year and next year. Go to givebutter.com/indoor. Indicate that you are giving on behalf of the OG, so I can mark, okay, that's our money, our, quote unquote, our money. And if we can raise $1,000 more, I might even kick some in. We can put the OG logo on the truck. Does that sound like a plan?
Sometimes I wonder, like, I know you work on radio, but like literally we have this banner. All you got to do is type it in and put it on the screen, dude.
Oh, it's fine. I'm busy. busy giving out the information.
I know, and I'm here.
Anyway, that's givebutter.com/indoor. Speaking of money, you might want to save money and you might want to refinance. And I know what you're thinking, man, I thought the rates aren't all that great. I mean, yeah, the rates aren't at historic lows like they were 5 years ago, but that's not the point. The rates are still lower than a credit card rate.
Yeah.
And if you want to consolidate debt, this is why you contact our friends at Miller Lending. Check them out online, millerlending.com/the-OG. You start that process, you take that thing to close, and you're going to get a gift basket from our friends at the Raleigh Wine Shop. And here's the thing about refinancing. Let's say the rates do get lower as the year progresses. No big deal. You didn't pay closing cost. So you're not worried about some sort of break even. Typically, it takes about 8 years to break even on closing costs. And typically, people will refinance about every 4 years for all sorts of reasons. As I mentioned, debt consolidation. Maybe you got a home remodel that you want to do. So contact our friends at Miller Lending, 919-447-3377, and MLS 250-2146.
And speaking of which, anyone out there does sliding doors.
Mm-hmm.
My sliding door to my deck. I got a deal for you. If you got a deal for me, chilio.joe@gmail.com.
Speaking of deals, how are we on the Aura NIL package with Two Roosters?
There's a big talk in the media section yesterday.
Oh, Hayes had to hate, hating ass Hayes had to hate that.
It was not there, but
Okay.
there's been some talk now that he might not come. There's some potential grade issues, i.e., he may not graduate. So it's difficult to be the grad assistant if you're not a
Hey,
graduate.
man, I understand Amir's problem. I was in the same boat as him back in the day. He's too focused on music, getting that right playlist. Like I was at WKNC. I wasn't spending as much time with class. I get it, man. We've all been there. So go to tworoosters.com. I don't know. I'm sure there's another way that Two Roosters will get involved. We mentioned all the we mentioned the attendance. This is good for business for Two Roosters. More butts and seats means more Sundays to sell with our friends at Two Roosters. So go check them out, tworoosters.com. And if the vibes are immaculate and you feel like buying NC State merch again, or any other merch for that matter, home field, baby. Homefieldapparel.com. Use that promo code OG24. You want to get ready for the basketball season? You want it to start right now? Well, they got amazing throwback stuff to bring the vibes back. So go to homefieldapparel.com. Use that promo code OG24 to save 15% off your order. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline from The Athletic, he is Brendan Marks. Brendan, what is up?
How are you guys doing? I'm coming to you live from cheery, delightful Newark, as you can see behind me.
I was going to say, you sound very, are you like in a super secret location? Like what's happening right now?
Yeah, this is the bowels of the Prudential Center, coming to you guys live, boots on the ground.
I love that, man.
The Prue, the Rock.
The Prue.
I wanted to talk to you today for a couple of reasons. A, we enjoy talking to you. But I do feel like what you wrote about in The Athletic last week related to North Carolina and the news in the last 24 hours where Elliot Cadeau is transferring out of the program. Also, Jalen Washington is transferring out of the program. And then you tie that to Will Wade's press conference at NC State. It is, for lack of a better phrase, a hard reset here in the Triangle. You got an actual hard reset that you can understand because it's a new coach. That's easy to process. But I feel like what you wrote about last week, what we're seeing now with Elliot Cadeau, hard conversations, right? John Shire talked about this in Raleigh with hard conversations around Jeremy Roach, hard conversations around Tyrese Proctor. Hubert Davis is having those hard conversations, not just with players, but with the program itself. So this hard reset seems to finally be happening in the last couple of weeks at UNC since they exited the tournament.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I would say that the seeds of that were planted even before that. I think those seeds were planted when North Carolina hired Jim Tanner. And that has been, if there is a singular through line in everything that North Carolina is doing now, those hard conversations, a hard reset, being willing to do those things, it's all because of the presence of Jim Tanner. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that Hubert Davis, over the last 6-7 months, since last offseason, really, when North Carolina, quite frankly, was too slow, too non-nimble, and got beat out for everybody they wanted. Ever since then, Hubert Davis has been realizing and having a reckoning, essentially, of we understand that we are not doing the things we knew we need to do to be successful in the modern era. The things that Will Wade came in is promising from day one, and the things that we're seeing, there was a reason I'm in Newark right now with John Shire and Duke, because they are doing those things. So having those hard conversations and being willing to say, look, yeah, and you guys, I think, said this really well before Wade was officially hired. Love you, mean it, but love you, mean it, but this is maybe not what's in our best interest. And
we testing what's going on? We got somebody doing a press conference right now, or they're just testing the mics?
Just testing the mics.
Okay, that seems to be a common theme for us the last couple of weeks, because when we were at the ACC
Simon
tournament,
Says, I was so confused.
was it Steve Max is the Simon Says guy, right, at the ACC tournament?
Yeah.
Like him and Red Panda are usually staples at an ACC tournament. He was
Right.
doing. He loved hearing himself talk, man. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, it looks like the testing is over. So
Yes. Okay. I think the biggest thing to understand with North Carolina, and the reason why Elliot Cadeau is in the transfer portal, and the reason why Jalen Washington is in the transfer portal, is not because they're bad players, but it's because, as we saw this season, and Hubert Davis now has a full seasons of evidence, they were not good enough for North Carolina to get where it wants to go. And so, as much as you appreciated those guys, as much as you valued them in the recruiting process, you have to be willing to make hard decisions the best interest of your franchise. It's why franchises move on from storied players all the time. And that is something North Carolina had not done previously, not just under Hubert, but really under anybody. And it's the first time where, Elliot, I think, is the test case. This is someone who Hubert really hitched his wagon to. It didn't work out the way that they both thought that it would. A fresh start can be in everybody's best interest, I think.
In fairness, you don't think they had that type of conversation with Caleb Love?
I think they do. I think that one was a little more preordained.
Okay.
I think
I know what you're saying. I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think this is one where they had to say, look, we appreciate you, Elliot. You have been almost 70 game starter for us. We don't beat Notre Dame without you. You were huge in our comeback attempt against Duke in the second half, but ultimately the money you're asking for, not just him, but everybody, the money that we have, the role that you think you're going to play, the role we think you're going to play, these things are not overlapping into a Venn diagram. And so because of all of those different factors, it's not one beyond the other. It's in our best interest to go our separate ways.
So I know they have the one recruit from Atlanta who's a big, or at least a bigger 3, smaller 4. Do you think they go full portal here, Brendan, or do you think this is the what I'm calling now the Duke model of let's get some lottery picks and supplement them with some grown ass men?
Easy enough to do, right?
Yeah.
I think that they are going to have to portal heavily, and it's going to be fascinating to me to see who North Carolina actually brings back. Like, you start with North Carolina, you start with who's coming back, right? So my understanding is that their top priority is retaining Drake Powell at the 3.
You're good, man.
My understanding is that North Carolina's top priority is bringing back Drake Powell at the 3. I think the next 2 returners who are their priorities, and these are similar conversations but to different degrees, are with Seth Trimble and Van Allen Lubin, and saying, hey, we appreciate you guys. You guys have been key components in our success this season, but we've only got so much cap space to operate with. We can only really afford to pay you so much. And so if we can find agreeable terms, great. If not, we wish you the best. From there, then it becomes what you're talking about, Joe. Then it becomes portal. How do we fill in the rest?
A launch sequence.
It's just so unnecessary. Nobody's talking for 2 hours. Nobody's talking for 2 hours.
Hey, man. Look, we're in a day and age in 2025. You get a couple dudes around a microphone. You can't help yourself. Just call it a podcast.
They're just going crazy. They're just going crazy.
Podcast out there. I'm keeping all of this in.
That's
all
fine.
priceless. This is all
As you
priceless.
should.
Mainly because if this is I love, obviously the audio is the main product. That's what we sell. I care more
Right.
about the audio than the visual. But if you're not used to watching on YouTube, please watch Brendan's facial reactions every time the feedback hits at the Prudential Center. He's like, would you stop it? Anyway.
This is what it's like to have kids, by the way, Brendan.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man.
You guys are making a hell of a sales pitch for that.
Hey, man, this is birth control. This really is birth control, man.
Anyways, I think okay. So after Drake Powell, Seth Trimble, and Van Allen Lubin, those I think are the 3 guys. If you're Hubert Davis in North Carolina, you want back if the price point is right.
Yeah.
Beyond those 3,
You can continue, man.
He's muting myself.
You just keep talking, man. Just keep talking.
okay.
I gotta interject real quick. This is the difference between a writer
I know.
and a radio person.
Yeah, man. Like,
You're
hey,
like,
I'm trying not to fuck up
hey,
your audience.
there's a reason. Hey, there's a
you're like,
reason.
squirrel.
There's a reason why I wear these Sony MDRs because
As long as it's not distorted, as long as you guys can't pick it up, I'm
good.
sure you
You're
are picking
overpowering
it
the
up.
distortion,
You're
man.
right.
Don't worry
Okay,
about
okay.
it. You're good.
Okay. After
those three guys, you
Yeah.
target.
after those three returners, then I think for North Carolina, it is almost exclusively portal, which is why those cap conversations with Seth Trimble, with Van Allen Lubin are so important, because you have to be giving yourself enough space to pay the guys that you need to bring in. And the one other element here that I would add that you guys, I don't know if you've thought about this much or not, but it is something that UNC and every school is very conscious of right now. That April 4th house deadline is coming up fast.
Yeah.
And to my understanding, schools who are trying to use up their collective money before that revenue sharing agreement is settled, before Claudia Wilkin rules on it, any agreements you come to with your collective money have to be done by April the 7th, the day of that hearing. And so if you're North Carolina and you have these freshmen coming in like a Caleb Wilson, you're going to pay him with that money. If you can get Drake Powell and Seth Trimble and Van Allen Lubin to agree to come back, you can pay them with your collective money. And then when your revenue sharing money comes in, that's the money that you're going to be allocating for transfers. So North Carolina is trying to front load, a lot of programs are, as much as they can right now. So then when the rev share money comes in, that's what they can use in the transfer portal.
There's a name missing here. Ian Jackson. Is he going to play for Coach P and at St. John's, or what's the story?
I would be surprised if he was back in a North Carolina jersey.
Okay.
I think the plan with Ian Jackson ever since he got to North Carolina was, how do we make it to the NBA as quickly as possible? I think that there is still a chance that he's in the ballpark of being a first-round pick. And if he is, then I don't see a way in which he's back in college. If he's in that 20 to 30 range, I think that's where things get a little more interesting. But again, these are not conversations that exist in a vacuum. They happen with the cap. And I don't know what you saw from Ian Jackson this year. Is that somebody who's worth paying, potentially a quarter of what you're going to have overall for your team? That's not a question I can answer, but that's one that Hubert Davis and Jim Tanner are going to have to deal with.
Well, see, that gets to a larger conversation around, like, Hubert Davis is coming back. It's his hard reset. But, Elliot Cadeau was his guy, got him to reclassify. I think, as you're talking about Ian Jackson, I'm pretty sure Elliot Cadeau was also in the same boat. What's the quickest way to get to the NBA? Didn't happen that way. And sometimes it happens. I mean, Tyrese Proctor is a 1-for-1 in this situation. It was, how fast can we get to the NBA? It's year 3 for Tyrese Proctor, right? And he's crucial to their championship chances. So I think there's a valid question as to whether or not, okay, cool, you get the hard reset, but is Hubert Davis roster construction one of his strengths right now? And is he bringing in outside voices that he's listening to? And it also gets to something that I thought was most intriguing, and the thing that I cannot shake when it comes to North Carolina, whether or not this hard reset is something that they truly get, right? One of the knocks on Hubert is insular. UNC guys, look at his staff. I see Jim Tanner, it's kind of the same situation. There's a through line with Jim Tanner. It's all Roy Williams guys. And it's got Roy, and it's a vibe. It's a hunch. It's a Roy Williams fingerprints all over this, because Roy Williams is a stubborn MFer about being right when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I can't help but shake this idea that behind the scenes, maybe Roy is also kind of guiding some of this update to what's going on at UNC, but it's still UNC guys. I think the other part of the piece I thought was interesting was they rely on the additive nature of their NIL. It worked with Armando, right? Worked with RJ.
Shit, Elliot Cadeau was in a Marriott commercial.
Right. That worked too. But it's also still a little bit of that old school Carolina mindset of, hey, man, we're Carolina. You're going to get all this other stuff that goes along with it. While new players, new agents are going, nah, man, what is my freaking bottom line?
Right.
So I find all this stuff kind of interesting in that you commend them for a hard reset, but what are you resetting to?
I think that is the biggest question around North Carolina's offseason. It is, how much is Hubert Davis actually willing to listen to the people around him?
Okay.
And how much is he actually willing to embrace diversity of thought? And, I don't think that this is the consensus opinion. I believe Hubert Davis is a very strong X's and O's coach. If you talk to other coaches in the ACC, other assistants, other head coaches, other people who have played them in the non-conference, they all agree that Hubert Davis is a good X's and O's head coach. He is in many ways just like Roy Williams. He needs to have the exact pieces he wants, right? Roy needed his two bigs. He needed the rim runners. Hubert needs a stretch four, right? We've seen that time and time again. When he has it, it works. When he doesn't have it, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Hubert's problem is not cooking, it's buying the groceries. And is he willing to listen to the people who he has brought in to help acquire those groceries? That, I think, is the biggest thing that remains to be seen. Now, if North Carolina goes out and adds some of the transfer portal players who they're interested in, the fact that they had a big board before the transfer portal window opened in and of itself is progress for them. The fact that they are already starting to have some of those back channel communications, you have to play the game in today's era. But the number of those guys who they land, who do come from different places, who maybe come from outside of the traditional North Carolina portal recruiting window. Like, if you go and look at the portal guys they've added, okay, they've either A, played in the ACC, B, been somebody that North Carolina recruited out of high school, or C, been somebody who had ties to the program another way. Like Cade Tyson was friends with a member of the coaching staff.
Right.
Are you willing to go and get guys who have no ties? Are you willing to explore guys who go and get more have no ties? That, to me, is the biggest single question. If North Carolina will do that, and there are people inside the program pushing for that, there's no reason North Carolina can't be a top 25 program and this hard reset can't work. But if Hubert Davis is going to only continue to listen to people in this tiny sphere, that is what has done him such a disservice and has gotten him at the point where, extension or not, quite frankly, he's coaching for his job next season.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment that he is coaching for his job next season. I think that's an important distinction here too. And I don't think I'm giving away too much of the game here. Jim Tanner is a UNC hire. It's not a Hubert Davis hire, right?
And they are not tied. They are not tied together. So that, I think, is important for people to realize. Like, if Hubert Davis decided he wanted to retire next year, not being fired, Jim Tanner is still there at North Carolina. These are independent bodies. And my understanding is that Jim still reports to Hubert, but the exact specifics of the process, and that is all what they're figuring out essentially in real time right now. And I think a lot of people gave Hubert a lot of crap for saying, oh, he's being so aloof about the process. Yes, but also I don't know that they had those answers at the times he was being asked, which
maybe not.
Criticize him for all you want for that, but I think it's something where that will determine basically his fate at UNC. Is he willing to not be quite as stubborn as he had? Is he willing to break the insular bubble? If so, he can be successful. If not, I feel like North Carolina's kind of faded to more of the same.
Brendan, you're a youth.
I am a youth.
If I told
kind of.
You still are. If I told you that UNC was a football school and NC State was a basketball school, how long will it take you to wrap your brain around that?
A very long time, but follow the money, man. Follow the money. That's journalism 101, right? Follow the money. And, I think for NC State and Will Wade, like, as you know, Giglio, this was the whole thing with them. Like, were you going to put up or shut up? And NC State wants him. They put up. North Carolina with Bill Belichick, were you going to put up or shut up? They put up. And so is North Carolina going to put up for men's basketball now? I think that's something they're trying to figure out behind the scenes.
Well,
but yeah,
now, come on, man. Look, youth, being an elder doesn't matter. NC State tried the football thing, and it took one Final Four run to remind you, oh shit, right?
This is where we live
right now. And I would say the same thing where I get that Carolina's chasing that football. This is where being an elder comes in handy in that how many times does North Carolina chase football? But they chase football a bunch. But at the end of the day, what are they?
But to your point about, is this Hubert? Is this Roy? It's a very Carolina fan. It still has a very Carolina family vibe.
Oh, it's a mafia.
Belichick was not that. That was a pure break.
You can do that with football, though. That was
you
a pure
can do
break
that
with football.
But I would tie all of this in because as anyone, youth, elder, older, whatever, things you always learn. Nothing happens in the triangle in a vacuum. Nothing.
No.
You can sit here and act like you're not paying attention. Duke football shamed Carolina football into the move that they made for Belichick.
Yeah, I agree.
But Carolina with Belichick just shamed State into this Will Wade financial commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Now what's next? Wade is going to shame Carolina basketball into their change, which will come next year.
And never forget, Wake sometimes shames Duke with their football moves.
Right.
Okay, Wake
twice.
Don't underestimate the Wake factor here. Okay?
I will say this: of those two, I would bet more on the Wade branch out working than the Belichick branch out working 10 times out of 10.
Only because of the sport. I would say that, and it's easier.
Not just easier, not just the sport, but I know what Will Wade is in college basketball. We don't know what the hell Bill Belichick is in college football, and whether or not he's doing it right.
And Brendan knows this too. Andrew Slater is a game changer.
Yeah,
for NC State.
Yeah,
that's not Jim Ellis. That's a guy as your general man, and it's not,
You mean Jim
Belichick.
Tanner?
Tanner, sorry. And it's not Belichick taking care of his buddy Lombardi.
Mike Lombardi.
Yeah.
This is
Like, this
total
is a
grift.
guy who literally
Total
was hired
grift.
by the Oklahoma City Thunder
Yeah.
to identify the best 14 and 15-year-old basketball players on the planet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Marks, before we say goodbye, did you know that Duke seeing Caleb Love again on Thursday night? Has that been a topic of conversation? Has anybody pointed that out to you there at the Prudential Center?
I think I lost you guys for a sec. Giglio, Giglio, I would say to you, obviously your reporting on NC State was bulletproof as it always is. I wish you talking about my facial reactions to some audio glitches here. I wish you could have seen my facial reaction when I read your tweet that NC State had hired Andrew Slater, because that is a move. I mean, that is a mountain shaking move. That is the one that, Will Wade's a great basketball coach. He obviously understands the game. Bringing Andrew Slater in, to me, is, if not more of a vouch for how much NC State is invested in basketball than Wade. Like, it's right up there. Andrew Slater is that guy, and anyone who's not familiar with him, get ready to learn success, buddy.
No, I was making a joke when you got cut out. We were joking about Caleb Love questions and Duke while you're there, as if, we're breaking news here that these two teams are playing. Caleb Love is seeing Duke again. Did you know?
Had no idea.
You heard of this shot that happened in 22? Have you heard of that?
Listen, when I left Tucson, I swear to you guys, I left Tucson and I texted my editor and I said, well, that's the last time I'm ever going to have to watch Caleb Love play Duke. And
nope.
So
up the Gatorade.
We'll see what happens. We'll see
this is very quickly becoming to Duke's Killing My Friends tour. Jeremy Roach, Caleb Love.
It's there. It's there. John Shire settling all business.
And you know who I have waiting for them in the final now?
Oh God,
I feel so good about this. In my plums.
Wait, who's in the final?
Sparty.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
I've got him in the Final Four.
Written in the stars.
We're gonna get a Mike Krzyzewski, Tom Izzo sit down ahead of that for sure. All right, Brandon, we appreciate it as always, man. The Athletic. We will talk to you later.
Absolutely appreciate you guys. Thanks for dealing with my shitty audio and shitty
Dude,
reactions.
you're fine.
Thanks for good content.
It's all good content. Later, man.
See ya.
Big thanks to Roback for sponsoring Ovies and Giglio. Check them out online, roback.com. Use that promo code OG20. Have you used the OG20 promo code already? That's fine. Just have another email and then use it again. Oh, look at this. It's the Chung Yeezy. Rocking the Roback, baby, with Will Wade.
Tell me it gets any better than that.
I love that.
That's
fantastic.
That's our guy. I hope he doesn't mind.
I'm sure he doesn't
The
mind.
hoodie's perfect, and he's with his coach now. So do what Chung did. OG20. Use that promo code.
You're also are you wearing the AV card today?
I do. I have the cart on today.
I love that.
I have a couple of special selections headed this way. I'm excited.
Very cool. So again, roback.com, use that promo code OG20. Big thanks to our friends at Breeze Through. BreezeThrough.com is website. Download the app. You can save money on gas and you can save money on Celsius right now. Did I use the Celsius deal yesterday, Joe? And I was dragging coming back from Charlotte because I went to the show, drove back. I got in at like a 120. So it was a pretty sleepy day yesterday. But you know what I did? 2 for $1 Celsius. No Zins though. No Zins. Got all sorts of deals at Breeze Through, so go check them out. Are we having another meeting? Let's have another meeting.
I feel like we might have security clearance to do some sort of Game 83 tailgate.
I'm ready.
/show
slash block party.
/block party. That was the verbiage.
Yes, that was the verbiage.
I like that.
Okay. Let's make it happen.
Put it on the well, we don't know yet.
We don't know what the playoff
Game 83.
But when Game 83 is on the books,
we're there.
We'll go and talk about the Canes here in a second because yes, we will be taking a hockey break here momentarily with the Canes. They're bad again, apparently. They're bad again.
They had a classic.
Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
So
they had a classic miss a bunch of open net shots.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a second.
So that Rod would be happy, but the effort.
I mean, look, man,
Gross.
it's the course of the regular season.
Bunting.
Of
course, it was bunting.
You know what doesn't take a lot of effort? Downloading the Happy Inhale app. Not a lot of effort there. Download it. Helps you order online. And if you use our promo code OG25, you'll get a one-time 25% off with our friends at Happy Inhale. Again, Happy Inhale locations in the Triangle. You got North Hills. You got North Raleigh. You got one in Durham. And of course, take a screen grab of you using that promo code at Happy Inhale, and you will be in the running for the black card.
I don't think people realize the heft of these.
Sound good. And you get 20% off for life.
It's the Caleb Love special.
Soon to be Elliot Cadeau special.
Yeah.
When he is for life.
I don't think Cadeau's putting it on the shoes, but stranger things have happened.
Who knows? Who knows? Bugsbite.com for life. It's about that time. A lot of rain, standing water, mosquitoes start to do the egg thing. And next thing you know, you're getting bitten up. Unless you do all that preventative maintenance, the preventative measures. A lot of it involves making sure your grass is cut low, getting rid of standing water, and most importantly, contacting our friends at bugsbite.com. Bundle and save with Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Trust me, you're going to need it this summer. Lightning round brought to you by Sam Jones. I had lunch at Sam Jones yesterday. I went for the turkey sandwich this time.
I've had the turkey.
I'm a big
It's
fan.
delicious.
It's a classic holiday bird, as they say on the menu. I'm a big fan of their turkey. I've not had the sandwich yet. Sandwich is
I have
really
not had the
good.
sandwich. I've had the turkey like in that little 2-meat
Yeah.
combo platter thing.
The
There's
meat,
another
the meat and
sides
2,
are-
the meat and 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
The sides are
I
off the
went
charts.
I went collards again, like I typically
Did
do.
you?
Yeah,
Beans, mac and cheese.
went with some hockey dads. Shout out to Justin and
Look
Ron.
at you. Did you all wear your jackets together?
No,
And
no,
get
no,
some
no.
zinnies and chase it with some Celsius.
No, I didn't do that. But Ron and Justin, they took a look at the bourbon selection. They're like, I didn't know they had that Weller.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. They got a really good bourbon selection there. So
Yeah.
head on over to Sam Jones. We did mention the Carolina Hurricanes. I think we can just start the conversation with a call to the OG Sports phone.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, this comes to us from a 919.
Hey guys, just finished watching the Canes Nashville game. It's pretty ugly, but kind of reminded me of this thing that happened at the end of the last year, and I was just curious to get you guys' take on it because we've been talking a lot about people wanting to be consistent and have consistent success, and I feel like the Canes have done that over the past couple of years. But I was actually at the game where they lost to the Rangers and were eliminated, and I remember leaving the stadium and hearing multiple fans say out loud, I can't do this again next year. And it wasn't just the heartbreak. It's that playoff hockey is incredibly expensive. And I'm wondering if this continued success but not getting to the cup is eventually going to wear down fans in playoff time. And they're going to say, I just can't afford to keep spending all of this money and knowing that they're not going to make it all the way there. And it's almost like a suffering from success type situation. I was just wondering if you guys kind of saw the same thing. All right. Enjoy the show.
The cost.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already heard people talking about the price raise about playoff tickets.
At least they're winning. Did you see where the Carolina Panthers are raising ticket prices? They haven't made the playoffs in
I know,
6
but
or 7 years.
you got to remember, you're already putting a significant
know.
financial chunk to get the season tickets.
I know.
And then it's like this. It really is like this drug hit that they hit you on for the rounds that follow.
So I am of the belief that we've already experienced. Well, look, I am not going to take true sentiment from fans in the aftermath of losing in heartbreaking fashion. What you're going to do. I'm not trying to dismiss it. I'm simply saying that is something natural for people to say, like, man, I don't know if I can keep doing this because of the financial commitment. But then you get hooked on it again. And in the back of your mind, you're worrying that's going to happen again, but you're hooked on it again. But I would say this, because, you know, you and I are uniquely positioned to get a true read on how things are going. So let's go back to 2019. They make the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. It's a bunch of jerk stuff, and it's a party, man. It's a celebration. And you and I weren't working together yet in 2019, but Adam and I were doing shows from the plaza. And it was a party. There were people around, okay? You still got a little bit of it when we came out of the pandemic and people were able to go to games again, like in normal fashion. And you got to see a little bit of that. But before we got fired, the previous playoff year, okay, 22, you started to see that those early rounds were not as much of a party.
Yeah, it was different.
It was different.
Yep.
We were doing the show from 3 to 6. In the 2019, 3 o'clock, man, people were out and tailgating already. It didn't matter. Okay. But by 2022, because of the cost, getting yourself ready for a potential long run, getting there at 3 o'clock, it was empty. Nobody. They had a couple of people tailgating, and it really wasn't they weren't doing as many like selling beer in the plaza. It wasn't that big of a deal. They scaled it back because they understood people were saving money. So that's just incremental as we've gotten to where we are this year. I'll be really curious to see what it's like for the playoffs this year for the Carolina Hurricanes. I think the magic number now is 8 to clinch it.
Yeah, sure.
They're going to be in the playoffs.
They're going to play the Devils in the first round of the playoffs.
So I'll be curious to see, because of how they've been a galvanized group so far. Look, man, Soros.
Juicy last night.
Juicy that's your boy. I know. That's your boy. As I was watching that game last night, I'm like, I bet tomorrow morning Giglio's going to have a Juicy Soros take. I told you he was the guy. I was just
never mind.
This.
He's been in the tank.
Doesn't matter.
He has been in the tank.
Does not matter.
He showed up last night with those electric yellow knee pads, and I'm like, this guy. Every time, this guy. They got some great names. The Preds, by the way.
But I'll be curious to see what it's like. Now, to the caller's point about the money and everything else, to wrap this all together, we've already seen it happening. My worry is, does Dundon understand? We've seen this. I'll use downtown Raleigh as an example here, right?
Oh boy.
Sometimes you need.
Oh no. No. I don't know if this is going to end well for the Canes if we're using downtown Raleigh.
Well, follow me here.
Okay.
You need people to drag you to where you need to be.
Okay.
All right. So I'll call out Ashley Christensen.
Okay.
For those who don't know who Ashley Christensen is, she's a James Beard Award winning chef. She has a few restaurants. Most notably, she has Pool's Diner.
Okay.
All right. But she's opened up a couple of other concepts. And those concepts have been New York price concepts.
Okay.
And I remember talking to another restaurateur that said,
who went to NC State?
No.
That one?
No, not that one.
Different.
No, this is a different one. This is a different one. I'll tell you after the show. Said to me, look, I think it's a little overrated, but I appreciate her conditioning consumers to pay higher prices, because if Raleigh's going to take the next step to be this, everybody can say there's no good restaurants. I can't get the same kind of Italian food here that I can in New York. Like the classic stuff from transplants that you get, even though there's really good restaurants around here, but there's well, it's Raleigh good. Okay. People say that very dismissively.
Yeah.
It's Raleigh good. Or there's better restaurants in Durham. Okay, fine. But you need somebody to drag you to conditioning consumers that if you want those experiences, you're going to have to pay more. Well, let's take this over to the Carolina Hurricanes and what Tom Dundon's doing. He's dragging people into, okay, you want to compete on a year-out basis. You want amenities. You want this. You're not going to do it on 2019 prices. I mean, heck, our guy Alex posted on social media recently, the good old days when I could buy $5 or $10 tickets, lower bowl, and nobody showed up, right? You don't want that. You don't want to go back to that. But the cost of it is literally there. You have to pay more for it. You have to pay crazy prices for parking. You have to pay crazy prices for beer. You have to pay crazy prices for the playoffs. You got to drag yourself into it. So you got to ask yourself what you want to be as a fan base. Do you want to be homey, cute, the little franchise that could, or are you going to be dragging into the modern era where you're going to compete on a year in, year out basis, and this is just the cost of doing business?
Are you talking about the Canes right now, or are you talking about OG Media?
Could be talking about a lot of businesses. I just tied it into restaurants.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I want it home.
Why can't I find good Chinese takeout here? You can.
5 stars delicious.
Right. I was going to say, you can, y'all. Some of those New York restaurants that you keep talking about, they're a little overrated. Okay.
Uh-oh. Play the hits.
That's not fair to Bluegrass.
Gotta be somebody over there who could send that to me.
Yeah, probably. Well, actually, speaking of New York,
one of my favorites.
speaking of New York, we'll get there. We'll get to New York in a second because we have one other hockey thing.
No.
Yeah, well, look, in the
Don't
hockey,
make me go to New York. I know what we're going to New York for.
in the hockey, like, look, for hockey, we got 2 Joes, 1 cup, right? So,
Graphic. They really need a Zamboni on that ice. By the way.
yeah, I know. Graphic design is my passion. So, Alexander Ovechkin scored another goal last night. He's up to
Oh my
8,
God.
8-9, Joe. So we
The
are
torture begins.
we are on a different kind of Ovies Giglio or Ovi Giglio. We got Ovi Giglio AP Goal Watch. For those who are unfamiliar, Giglio will occasionally pick up AP wire duties for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yes.
When something big happens, you have to write like an actual story as opposed to a gamer, which you
It's
can
not even a gamer
you
anymore.
can
It's
you
like
can you
this-
can bang those out.
Yeah.
You can bang those out in your sleep.
In my sleep, yes.
But a story, a little bit different, a little bit more involved. And buddy, we are tracking. We are tracking for Alexander Ovechkin to either tie Gretzky or pass Gretzky here while you're working it for the Associated Press. I cannot wait.
April 2nd. It's a Wednesday. Canes hosting Washington. Young Connell Burnside reminded me, though, last night, it's more likely to happen at Washington when the Canes play there April 10th.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, man, we are 1 hat trick away from your boy to have to do some serious lifting for the Associated Press. I even said to Aaron Beard, I saw him yesterday, I go, AP, like, won't like Steve Wino come down or something like that? He's like, no.
No,
And I'm
it's
like,
you.
do I need to pre-write this? He's like, yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, God damn it, AP.
I'm excited.
So tonight he needs 6 to set the record.
Mm-hmm.
So part of me wants to see it,
Of
right?
course.
But we would need a hat trick here. They have an extra game in between because the Canes only have 2 games before they see the Caps.
All right.
So, you know,
We're on Ovi Watch.
but here's the real rub, right?
Giglio Ovi Watch.
If he's within 3, I feel like I have to pre-write it because you don't know if that hat trick's coming. And then that could be a classic. Sometimes your best words are on the scrap heap because they don't get to see it a lot of the day. That NC State beats St. Louis in 2015 down in Orlando. Man, I wrote the hell out of that story. I got to tell you.
Where is that story? Is it in a warehouse somewhere with Keller Williams?
And they could store a lot of second version story. Got to write 2. Canes win, Canes lose. State wins, State loses.
So if you need, it's kind of like when you send the championship shirts to
Yes.
a third world country, right? There's a pile of Giglio stories that never saw the light of day. They're actually sitting in a commercial real estate building. Thanks to our friends Keller Williams. Check them out. 919-616-8681 or contact them through the phone or visit their website, trianglencommercial.com. Brian and Julie, the Donnelly team is going to help you out with Keller Williams. All right, back to the lightning round.
Topics, stack it up. Giglio's roll back it up. Well, I know what we'll do. A lightning round.
Last item in the lightning round relates to quarterbacks in the NFL because we've had seismic moves on the quarterback free agency market, Joe. What does it all mean? Russell Wilson signed a 1-year deal with the Giants. He's going to be joining an interesting quarterback room that features Jameis Winston and Tommy. Where's the pizza and the pie? I heard Raleigh ain't got no good Italian restaurants. Hey, DeVito, Tommy. So that's going to be a hell of a room, man, with those three. So this leaves, this leads to a couple of, a tree of, a decision tree of topics. The obvious one is Aaron Rodgers. Well, Aaron's clearly not going to New York. Well, why isn't he going to New York?
Oh.
Did the Giants not want him in New York?
There's the visual, man. It's so
Oh,
good.
so
Like
good.
You need it. Like it's almost
So
like you
good.
need it.
Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito. That is a nightmare blunt rotation of a QB room right there. But it's to provide content in New York, man. That's all you can ask for.
Points to the passer. Bomani yesterday when the news broke goes, if Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston isn't the ultimate buddy cop movie,
Oh, jeez.
I don't know what is. And he said,
Oh, I can't. Oh, God. Sierra coming around Jameis Winston. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's going to be so
he
good.
also said, you know who all the people in North Jersey are rooting for. And it's not Russell.
No.
Or Jameis.
No.
They got to cut Tommy. He had a whole riff.
Oh,
man.
is this the whole? Is this
He
the,
was great.
Is this the whole black up thing?
He was great.
The black backup quarterback, and you got the white backup quarterback, and it's Tommy DeVito with the. Do you still have the agent with the horn? Yeah.
Stiletto.
They're gonna have to get rid of him. They're gonna have to get rid of Tommy DeVito because yes, it's gonna provide the content. But of course, all this relates to Aaron Rodgers. What does it mean?
Everything comes back.
Well, did you want to go to New York? Does New York want him? Is it a fait accompli that he's going to end up in Pittsburgh? And that's why Russell left, because they knew they're going to bring Aaron Rodgers in? Well, he just met for 6 hours over there. My personal favorite story that comes out of all of this and how bonkers, batshit crazy Aaron Rodgers is the fact that Mike Florio floated on ProFootballTalk.com that Aaron and his trip to Pittsburgh was more of a mole hunt.
Mole?
A mole hunt.
Okay.
Essentially looking to see who were the ones leaking information. Remember, he would go on McAfee all the time and said, we got a leak, we got a mole. And that he was essentially looking for ways to.
He was like Littlefinger.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
He's like, who's the network of
Tyrion
spies?
giving all the different answers to the different people to
My
see
little
which one was
birds.
the leak.
Right.
Yes.
So the fact that Florio floated that out there, and I went, yeah, I could see that.
Tracks.
Sort of tracks with Aaron Rodgers. But here's my personal favorite thing about Aaron Rodgers. I did not know about this, but we got our friends like Brooke Pryor to relate this. Because everybody's wondering, well, what the hell's Aaron Rodgers waiting for? I want to say it was Golick Jr. who floated out that, well, the reason why Aaron Rodgers hasn't done anything with Pittsburgh yet is because he doesn't want to do any of the offseason stuff. He clearly set that tone in New York.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the offseason stuff. I want to go to my darkness cave. I want to do what rich white people do and take ayahuasca and sound like I'm enlightened, right? I'm sorry, that's a rich white person thing, the ayahuasca stuff. So that is something that is floating out there. But the one thing I did not realize until today, apparently Pat McAfee is going to Pittsburgh for some event. Like McAfee's on this like off-season protocols. I guess McAfee's going to be on the headlines today because I believe he's talking to LeBron James for like an hour on the show today.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's interesting. And of course, the media intrigue is like, he's going on with McAfee and he's got beef with Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, that's right.
That's interesting. Is there gamesmanship from LeBron? But apparently McAfee's doing like a big thing in Pittsburgh.
Because he's a Yinzer.
And that people are believing that Rodgers will show up to announce he will be a Steeler at the McAfee event.
Makes sense.
That tracks. That tracks. But also Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin, are you that desperate?
Have you thought about some of their options, though?
Well,
no, I know he's terrible. I know he's not good.
It's interesting. It is a larger conversation about where we are with the quarterback discourse, that we're really trying to find deeper meaning in Russell Wilson going to the Giants. We're trying to find this Aaron Rodgers thing as though he's actually going to be an impactful player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And honestly, I think this is a worse look for the Steelers than it is for Aaron Rodgers. That a guy that is clearly washed, is a locker room problem, and is more about himself, i.e. the McAfee show, that you're willing to bring that agent of chaos into your room if you're Mike Tomlin. Come on, man. It can't be that bad that you're taking Aaron Rodgers. Unless Mike Tomlin's just trying to find a way of saying, is he going Costanza? Like, man, you didn't fire me last year. I know what I can do.
I know how I can do it.
I know what I can do. This is how I get fired. Telling you what, it's going to get dirty up in Pittsburgh, man. Need 1-800-plumber and air. That's what you need. Oh, I wonder what the plumbing is like in that darkness cave.
In theory, there shouldn't be any running water in the darkness cave, right?
Theoretically, but have you seen pictures of the darkness cave?
Dumping a hole.
No, it's actually pretty nice. It's got lights in it.
Oh,
yeah.
And how is it
I don't know. I don't know. You know, I go to the bathroom so long sometimes people would accuse me of having a darkness retreat.
Yeah.
But I'm doing a lot of reading in there, man. I do a lot of prep.
Bathroom.
In the bathroom. So you want to make sure that everything's running right. And that's where our friends at 1-800-plumber and air come in handy. Are you dealing with some leakiness?
Dude, I can't even. I've tried like 15 different times to fix this thing. I've tried.
Yeah.
I've paid somebody.
Not working. It's too bad. Maybe you just need to blow it all up and get a new house, Joe.
No.
Okay.
But if I were,
you would contact Hometown Realty.
myhtr.com.
So hit them up.
Way to do it.
myhtr.com. You can buy and sell with confidence. A lot of new construction out there. A lot of those builders have incentives. Take advantage of all of those incentives with Hometown Realty. And if you're selling a house, as we've mentioned, get the full value. These cash offers, man, you're leaving money on the table.
Yeah, don't be silly.
And then with all that money you make off selling your home, you go to the butcher's market and you buy all the hot dogs. Maybe I'm just saying.
I need to check in with Kenneth because
we've not heard from Kenneth in a hot minute.
As amazing as the hot dogs are, they probably want us promoting something besides the hot dogs. I'm just using my brain now.
You know what? Bit. It's like the old Best Buy model. You come in to buy a CD, but you know what? Maybe I need this appliance too.
Yeah, I like that. Right? A loss leader.
Right. So the hot dogs are a lot. You go in there like, damn, but that Wagyu beef looks good.
Whoa. That homemade bacon.
Hey, those jalapeno.
Hang on.
You know, we'll go with these dogs. Jalapeno poppers. Somebody gets some of these too.
So I like the potato skins because they cut them thin. They're not
the full on twice.
Right. It's like a sliver.
Yeah.
They're good.
Takes me back to TGI Fridays.
Yeah.
I felt God in this Chili's tonight. No, that was just the potato skins from Butcher's Market. So go to thebutchersmarket.com. Big thanks to our friend Matt Davis at State Farm. We don't have any tickets, right?
No, the last game is accounted for.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So what you need to account for is your home and auto and saving money on it, and Matt Davis can help you out with that. InsureGarner.com or give him a call at 919-779-8277. Who did you see yesterday?
I'm not going to remember this. I barely remembered it when it happened. Where Matt is on Aversboro Road, upstairs is a dentist, and I was in the market for a new dentist.
Yeah.
Do you remember that I met the dentist when I was doing shots of moonshine?
Yes.
He walked, and he's a youth.
Yes, now I remember.
Paul walked in yesterday after I had my teeth cleaned. He walked in, he was like looking at me, and the hygienist was kind of like,
what's going on?
We're having a conversation. And then I said, well, Brittany, what you don't know is the last time I saw Paul, I was completely shit-faced. And Paul's just like, yeah, man. But you brought your whole family to my practice, so it worked. Hey, man, Matt can help you in all kinds of ways. That is the moral of the story. Reach out and talk to the man.
All right, let's do Hey Joe on our way out. Let's go back to the OG sports phone, shall we?
919-444-2211. Call the OG sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, this is from a 919.
Hey, this is Patty from the Triangle area, the Springs. First-time caller. Listen to the podcast almost every day. Just quick little background. Bleed red in this house. We've been here since 1999, and NC State is our adopted team. Also season ticket holder for the Carolina Hurricanes since 2004, so we have seen the good, bad, and the ugly. So just really quickly on the Will Wade hire, I don't want to hear NC State fans talking shit anymore. This is who you wanted. They went out and got it. And so regardless of what happens next year, if he sucks or if he's good, I don't want to hear one word about it because you asked for it. So be happy for once in your life, because I don't think you were grateful enough to Kevin for taking you somewhere you hadn't been for 40 years. I understand why Kevin had to go, totally get it, and I wish him the best. But I am over the whining. You asked for it, you got it, he better deliver. And if he doesn't, how do you define success? When he makes the ACC tournament? If he makes the NCAA tournament and he's one and done, or does he have to take you to the Final Four? What is success? Because I'm kind of over the whining. And the last thing is, just real quickly on the Canes, GM is a stats and analyst guy. He needs to understand there's this thing called lies, damn lies, and statistics. So the next time he goes to make these big deals, he needs to consider things that aren't on his little stat sheet that is called heart, whether you're a cancer in the locker room, what kind of teammate you can be, and work ethic, especially if you're going to come play for Rod Brindamore. So keep up the great job. Thanks so much, and go Pack.
Patty bringing the heat on the OG Sports phone.
A+ call. No notes.
Yeah. Although defensive Tulski, if I may, because she's right about the state stuff. Quit your whining. You want in, you're in. You got your guy. Go do the thing, right?
Be more forever grateful, please.
Forever grateful.
Please.
The thing about I will defend Tulski. He had the wherewithal to try to make another move and make it work.
He pivoted.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes there's a sunk cost fallacy here, and they were saying, "Nah, forget it. Let's go." And it seems to be working out in the long run. It was a weird route to get there, but they got there. All right, from a 919.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of my NC State family going wild over the hiring of Will Wade, basically foaming at the mouth. But as you also eloquently said, this is a year-to-year proposition. But I think a better way to look at it is this is pretty much Rick's Cabaret. Now, you have Will Wade. He's over there. He's dancing. He's saying all the right things, and you're just throwing out dollars. But don't confuse that with love, because it ain't love. It's just business. Peace.
All right, I got to write this down because I told you, man, we always get to the end of the year, and I'm like, we got to mark some of these things down. The Rick's Cabaret analogy, that's a win.
The only question is when I've given money to the NIL in the Rick's Cabaret analogy here, does the receipt come back Cary Golf? Because no, that was pure gold for the longest time in downtown Cary. It showed up as pure golf.
I got a list now. Even though there's some of the Forever Grateful needs to go on that list too.
Forever Grateful?
Yeah, because remember that was a real thing before.
Yeah,
we got to find the date of that one.
Okay, all right. To a 704.
Hey guys, it's Paul. I'd just like to address the UNC fans who are online freaking out about Elliot Cadeau entering the transfer portal. Guys, did you like what happened this season? Did you like this team this season? No? Well, Elliot Cadeau was kind of one of the big reasons why this team was not successful. Because his averages were okay, 9.4 points per game, 6.2 assists per game, but he also turned the ball over like 4 or 5 times a game, which is not good for a point guard. And he was basically a non-factor from the three-point arc. Was he better than last year? Yeah, but that's a very, very, very low bar to clear. And, everybody's like, attack the portal, attack the portal. Well, if you're going to attack the portal, some people have to leave for you to be able to bring people in. Like, that's how that works. So you're going to lose dudes that are former 5-star players if you want to get players that are actually proven contributors at the college level. And I just want to talk about, broader, 5-star players in general. Me, personally, in this day and age, give me a 21-year-old dude Give me a 21-year-old point guard who averages 12.5 points and 5 assists and 1 turnover a game. Give me that all day long. It was rumored that Elliot Cadeau was asking for $2 million from UNC, $1 million more than R.J. Davis was getting last year. And you know who I would pay $2 million to? A dude who averages 12.5 points a game, 5 assists a game, and is 21 years old, and I know exactly what I'm going to get from him every night, and he's good defensively. Give me that at $2 million all day long. Like, and everybody who's like, UNC doesn't do anything with 5 stars. Yeah, okay. Duke, let's look at Duke. For every Cooper Flagg and Zion Williamson, there's a Javin DeLaurier and a Chase Jeter, okay? Like, half of Duke's bench is a bunch of 5-star dudes who never play. Like, and like, throughout the past, there's a reason that Carolina's been to 3 national championship games since Duke's last national title. Since Duke's last national title game appearance. And it's because they have experience. Talented experience, but experience. And that's just what it is. Give me a 21-year-old every single time, baby. Give me a 21-year-old, please.
I think to Paul's point, yeah, this is pretty typical at Blue Blood franchises. I mean, they're practically franchises now. I might as well call them franchises, given where things are going. And to his point about Duke, yeah, there's a lot of guys that have come through Duke that were the next big thing, and then they're off to somewhere else. That was usually used as a knock on the coach, though. Like, all right, you got these guys, you don't develop them. That was a way Carolina would differentiate themselves from Duke. Like, this guy didn't stick around. Oh, he's off to the pros, whatever. Things change, narratives change. I get all that kind of stuff. I think what's going on with Hubert, specifically with Elliot Cadeau, is we've hit a point with Hubert Davis that not all fans, but a very vocal group of fans are convinced, no, the players aren't the problem. It's the coach. A better coach would get more out of Elliot Cadeau, not the other way around. That sort of thing. Rather than, hey, man, it's just didn't work out. I think that's where we're at with Hubert Davis, if I had to guess. All right, one more before we get out of here.
Hey, guys. It's Sean. I was listening to talk about Stephen A. Smith and ESPN calling time of death on the NCAA tournament and just, screaming at my phone in agreement, because if you're asking when are we going to be over the wrestling promo vacation of sports coverage, I've been there for like 5 years, but it just kind of hit on something that I've really felt this year. People being more prisoners of the moment than ever before, and that this moment is completely definitive and it isn't going to change. With some self-awareness, maybe it's because I feel that way because it isn't Carolina's finest moment, but can we zoom out a bit? Can we look 3 or 2 or even 1 damn year in the past or towards the future? I mean, the tournament's dead because the SEC and the Big Ten are just going to dominate from here on out. When was the last time a school from either of those conferences won the tournament? And the SEC is just going to be the most dominant conference ever from now on, just moving forward. And, last all of a sudden Shire is, the next coming, is the greatest coach ever. But wasn't that Hurley the past 2 years? And I guess what crystallized it for me too was having a Carolina fan on Monday calling in saying that he has fan apathy. It's like, dude, step off the ledge. You're apathetic to UNC basketball already. What were the daughter years like for you? Just zoom out a little bit. Like, look to the past, look to the future a little bit. And that's probably because of the Stephen A. Smith of the world, but you guys just hit it on the head for me, and just kind of wanted to call that out a little bit. Anyways, that's just another reason y'all are the best. You don't fall for that, and it's actually fun to listen to you. Have a good one.
Appreciate that call. I was actually thinking about this. I feel like this is now 2 marches in a row. And I don't do a good enough job because I hate doing it. And you know this about me. I don't like self-promotion.
Okay.
But unfortunately, we are in a position now where we have to self promote.
Yeah.
Because the only people who are going to promote us
Are us.
you and me. Okay. And obviously, the people who ride with the podcast will promote by retweeting stuff, sharing it on reels, engaging, all that kind of stuff. And we appreciate that, right? 5 stars only, positive vibes only. But I think this is now 2 marches in a row where I think to myself, you know what? Ain't nobody in this market doing it like us. And I think the listeners appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're actually talking about the teams and what they've been doing all along, not just like, oh,
Right. Speaking of which, one last meeting.
One more meeting.
Okay.
So we're going to do an after dark tomorrow.
Yeah, Thursday.
Do you want that to be the Butcher's Market live just at midnight?
It can be. It could be wild. I mean, we don't know. Roll the dice.
So you just want to roll the dice and we'll just wait until.
That's fine by me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nothing at 2:00 tomorrow. We'll just go live. We'll do it live after the Duke.
We'll do it live.
Arizona game at midnight.
Ooh, I can play golf tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I could do taxes. Yeah. Corral more tax stuff.
I am about to send my stuff to Austin over at Miller Lending. You can do the same. MillerLending.com/theog.
All right. So we will see you around midnight or
it's going to be late.
or more like 1 a.m. And we'll be full on pizza too. Because remember, we're having dinner with the life coach. So
maybe we'll have some new bits. That'd be cool.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. We're going to come back fire with some bits. Absolutely. All right. We'll see you all at like 1 a.m. Friday.